Hello everyone, and welcome to my first Troop Spotlight video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the Nephsis Punishers. I was fortunate enough to get them to 4-star, and I'm super excited to share them with you. I have them at level 30 with 5-star equipment and armor. I haven't gotten them to the greens yet because it's quite costly, but I'm very excited to showcase the stats and the abilities of this troop, and then show you various different interactions it has with different troops and how it behaves on the battlefield. So stay tuned, alright? So starting off at rank 1, we have Agile Line Charge. And what that does is it increases the melee physical attack equivalent to the level, which is 30, times 12. And I believe that does go up to about 24 times 30, which is 720 physical attack per unit. And at 1 star, that is 10. Remember, the number of stars that it has increases the troop size. It does go up to a total of 16 at 5-star from 14 at 4-star. Remember, 1 per star until 5-star. Very important for you to keep in mind. So that number that it gives is a function of the number of units, so it is quite effective. So moving on to the 2-star ability, which is Hunter's Spear. And what this does is a passive bonus to their physical defense penetration. It is physical defense penetration equivalent to 30 times 34, which is 1020. So for the 3-star ability, we have Agile Concentrated Line March, which causes the spearmen to move forward with their glowing spears. And what those glowing spears represent is a critical rate increase equivalent to level times 12 for 10 seconds. I do have my spell book open here, where I did upgrade it to 7 because it costs cubics, and unfortunately cubics in this game are much less valuable than gold themselves. And so it goes up by 720 at max level, which is more than double their critical rate, which is super awesome. Very, very worth it getting it at 3-star. And definitely makes them a force to be reckoned with their critical strikes. Moving on to their 4-star ability, we have the second passive ability, which is Hunter's Shield. And what this does is it increases their ranged physical defense by level times 18. And what this does is it prevents them from taking too much damage from ranged units. I currently have it at maxed out at level 7, and it's level times 34, which is about 900. So it's a significant ranged defense increase, and as you can see from the future clips where I show their interactions versus ranged units, it is a significant help, especially against scorpions, which you may wonder if it's ranged or not. It is indeed a ranged attack, and does cause physical damage. So it definitely helps protect against those scorpions. Moving on to their 5-star ability, we have Thorny Javelin. And Thorny Javelin is a ranged attack, which is very interesting. I think they might be the only spearman class in this game that has a ranged attack. What it does is it inflicts damage at 120% of physical attack on enemies in a selected area. So it is an area of effect attack and not a targeted attack. And what it does is it adds a debuff called Thorny Javelin Weakened, and its range is 60 meters. What Thorny Javelin Weakened does is it decreases movement speed by 22 and incoming hailing by 30% for 20 seconds. If we go to our skill book, even though we don't have this unlocked, we can actually upgrade it. The way you do that is if you go to their skill list, just search up Thorny Javelin here, and I did locate the Punisher's ability. And even though I don't have it unlocked, I can upgrade it. And what you can see is that at level 1, we do have a 22 movement speed decrease, but if you level it up, it does go down to 24%, or go up to 24%, and its damage increases by 10%. And what that means is that at level 7, what you will see is a 180% physical attack, and you will also see a 36% movement speed decrease, which is definitely something that I'm excited to see. As you can see, the required SP is only 10 seconds. Can you imagine that? You got some Punishers, they're holding you off, and then you start throwing spears at you, slowing you down and reducing your healing. That's incredible. That's awesome. What a great finishing move, too. And if they charge into you and they're trying to run past you, slow them down. It's awesome. I'm super excited about this. There's such a low cooldown and such low SP cost. that this is one of the most exciting troops in the game, in my perspective, from my perspective, since I have 4-star Punishers already. So I'm super excited about that. So that is it for their skills. If we go down to their stats, what we have are, and let me use the upgraded armor, which gives 1,530 per unit and 41 physical attack per unit. So if we look at their defenses, we do see that their melee physical defense is very, very strong. And remember, it does increase for physical. They do have the passive to increase their resistance to ranged physical defense. So that is something to look forward to if you're getting it to 4-star. That passive is significantly beneficial, and I would definitely say that that's one of their strong points. As you can see, they are weak to ice, and with ice mages being so powerful in this version of the game, I would definitely say that it's definitely to keep this in mind. If you recognize that your opponents are using ice mages, you might not want to pick your Punishers, as they will take significant amounts of damage from those ice mages. And the critical defense is reasonably high. Their agility is also really nice. Unfortunately, one of the biggest proponents of the Punishers is their ability to block. It's unfortunately a hidden stat, it seems, but they block almost every melee ability. And blocking, remember, I believe is a 70% defense. And I don't know if it's before or after defense calculations. However, that's a big part of why Punishers are so strong. As you can see, they have a troop size of 14, which is significantly lower than other spearmen troops. So the ability to protect and funnel points is not as great as other spearmen troops. So keep that in mind if you're trying to block a certain point. You might have a case where, unfortunately, the enemies will be able to just simply walk around your spears, which is never a fun sight to see. As you can see, I do actually have a clip of that from my 3v3 PvP video, which I will show right now. And as you can see, it's quite comical that they just simply walked around my spearmen. But that was back when they were 3-star. Now that they're 4-star, that is no longer possible in that choke point unless they take some damage first. So pretty cool. Going on to their HP recovery per character, Dark Elves seem to, Nephsis seem to have extremely high HP recovery per character. They heal 570 HP per 3 seconds, which is so noticeable. There's a lot of times if they're taking range damage that you can even see the damage that they take because they just heal so much. So it's a super exciting stat, and yeah, I really enjoy watching it. Them recover their health. That stat doesn't increase, and with other characters it does, but as you can see that their SP recovery is 5, which is decently high compared to other units, and they do add an additional 150 SP, which is very beneficial. So in this part of the video, I'll be showing you various interactions between Punishers and other units that you find in PvP. This first clip is between Punishers and some 3-star armor worshippers. And as you can see from the start here, they do use their taunt, which lowers the physical defense of my Punishers. However, due to the low damage that the armor worshippers have in their low level, I believe they're only level 23 in this clip, they don't do anything to my Punishers. I don't believe if they were level 30 that they would be able to do anything anyway, due to my Punishers being able to keep them at such a distance. However, they do keep my Punishers quite occupied, so if something else were to be joining them in conjunction in this attack here, I do believe my Punishers might have a hard time. In this next clip, my Punishers are going against the most fearsome unit that you'll find in this game at this current time, the 4-star Slaughterers, and as you might expect, I'm able to defend against them for a little while. However, once they activate their buffs, and they get through the stamina bar, which is the purple bar that's under the health bar, or on the title plate, it's the white bar above the health bar. Once that's gone, my Punishers simply get melted. They lose their formation, they lose their defensive capabilities, and unfortunately, they just get slaughtered. And the Slaughterers did take a nasty hit, but most of it is self-inflicted, so I don't feel that joyous about it. In this next clip, I am going against some Sword Dancers, and a quite strange interaction here happened where the Sword Dancers were able to survive quite a bit, because of the high evasion of the sword dancers, and I believe they do have some sort of kind of parrying effect. I'm not sure though. All I do know is that they were able to live for a long time despite not being level 30. And as you can see, they actually did get through my punishers and they stopped attacking each other. Ayusha, the person who helped me with this lovely video, was trying to attack me but was just unable to. This was a very strange interaction. In this next clip, you can see that we have some Storm Riders. And Storm Riders do a little bit of stamina damage, but do little to nothing when it comes to physical damage to the Punishers themselves. In this clip, you can see that we have a Scorpion here. The Scorpion using his Shockwave and doing little to no damage on my Punishers, but then using his swipe, or the 3 sweep attack, was able to penetrate my defenses, and then was able to get onto the point just fine. Whereas if he tried to walk onto the point otherwise, was not able to. You can see how much stamina damage my Punishers also took. Once the Punisher's stamina goes down to 0, they are unable to maintain their formation. And as you can see, the Scorpion was able to make it away scot-free. As you can see in this clip, these mortars are doing lots of stamina damage and is disrupting the formation of the Punishers quite significantly. When the Punishers are on the ground, they do not prevent things from penetrating the wall. However, the ones that are standing do have a long attack range, so they're able to prevent a lot. In this clip, we have some riflemen who are going to test their might against the the ranged physical damage reduction that I get from my 4-star passive. And as you can see, even with salvo and the attack modifier that rifleman has, their damage is not enough to warrant focus on my Punishers, and unfortunately it seems that their time is better spent elsewhere. A simple bandage would be able to keep my Punishers in place and keep the riflemen occupied for quite a long time. As you can see from this short clip, I'm going to be going over the Ice Masters versus Punishers interaction. If you remember, Punishers actually have a weakness to ice, so I'm curious to see as to what Multi-Blizzard does to Punishers. I suspect that it will be pretty disruptive, if anything, and do quite a bit of damage. As you can see here, the damage is not that great. For such an expensive spell with, I understand the cooldown's really long, and you know, if it's just in a small part of it, that is a decent amount of damage. But if you really want to take them out, you're going to want to use like the Frozen Ground spell here. As you can see, the damage is astronomically higher, and it seems to be equally as disruptive, if not more disruptive. And if the player with the Punishers doesn't move them, you're looking in for a bad time. An easy wipe. As you can see, the stamina is also really low, so they're going to be losing their formation shortly. In this clip, I'm going to be showing you that no matter what kind of troop you have, a combination of tactics will be able to overcome almost every obstacle that you'll come across in this game. And what happened here is that we had some mortars that inflicted their shock rounds and stunned my Punishers, and then we had some 4-star slaughters come in to sweep me away and made quick work of my Punishers. So remember that despite how strong a troop may seem, there's always a workaround, and that workaround might include CC and slaughterers. And to finish off this part of the video, I'm going to be making a quick summary as to the strengths and weaknesses that I see with the Nephsis Punisher. So to start off, I'm going to go with offense. And they do decent damage when placed in the middle of enemies, with their ability activated as well. I do not have the 5-star ability yet, it's Javelin Toss, but I suspect that it'll be a great asset, a big part of their damage output once they get to 5-star. However, to rely on a 5-star ability to have decent offense, if it is even decent offense, I'm going to have to give them a B for offense. And next on to defense, they're resilient to range damage due to the Hunter's Hunter's Shield, and they're protected from melee damage from the front because of the line wall. But their ice resistance leaves something to be desired, and ice mages seem to be quite prevalent in PvP, so I'm going to be giving them an A for defense. Next on to utility, the reliable stun lock that you can get from line formation, and their javelin toss applies useful debuffs, and for that reason I'm going to give them a B. And moving on to usability, there are not many missions that you're going to be wanting to use these over other units. There are certain things that Punishers can do, but typically there's just something better out there that, you know, performs overall better. The only ones I can really think of are Invasion of Hades to protect from the commander units that come from the rear. And the 3v3 PvP, however, the Battle Incarnate Enrage buff that you get after a certain amount of time has passed breaks their line formation ability, which kind of makes them useless. Even if they do double damage, they're doing half as much damage outside of the line formation. So for that reason, I'm going to be giving them a D. And moving on to the ease of use of the Nephsis Punishers, they unfortunately, they need to be microed a lot. And once they're done fighting in spearmen formation, you can deactivate the ability to move them again and activate it again. So it's quite tedious to control them when you're dealing with 2 other units as well as your hero. They also lose their stamina at unpredictable times, and it's unclear how that stamina recovers. I wish they had some more information on that, and unfortunately because of these things, it's going to get an F for ease of use. And overall, I think that they're a decent unit. I think that they have very niche uses, and you know, overall they're a really badass unit. So I hope that balancing changes around, that these guys really shine, and maybe that the bug fix in 3v3 may change how they're being used in PvP, but right now it's just not enough to warrant the really hindering bug that Battle Incarnate provides. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. It took me a while to get this one out. However, I do foresee that I'm going to be making other videos like this for other 4-star troops that I have. However, there are some troops that I do not want to make a troop spotlight for at 4-star. For example, the Executioners, because of how reliant they are on the 5-star ability. And for that, I would definitely stay tuned and subscribe so you can see when these videos come out in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.